Now from global business, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema is paying a state visit to China. The 8th Eastern Economic Forum continues in the Russian port city of Vladivostok. And to celebrate 10 years of the Belt and Road Initiative, CGTN reporters check out how BRI projects are benefiting local economies. Hello and welcome to this edition of Global Business on CGTN. I'm Guan Xing in Beijing. And first up in the program, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema has completed the first leg of his week-long China state visit. His delegation has been in Shenzhen since September 10th and has visited several leading companies within the trade and technology hub. President Hichilema also discussed the practical collaborations across key sectors such as mining, resource exports, telecommunication, and digital infrastructure. In the remainder of his visit, the African leader will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Premier Li Qiang, sign a raft of cooperation agreements, and visit Jiangxi and Fujian provinces. The visit is expected to address Chinese investments in Zambia's key sectors and facilitate friendly exchanges ahead of the 60th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations next year. Our reporter Huang Fei has more.
Business features were high on the agenda. President Hichilema visiting 5 companies in 2 days. But he started his visit to China by paying tribute to the late Chinese visionary Deng Xiaoping, whose reform and opening up policy provided an inspiration for Zambia's modernization. At the Yantian International Container Port, Hichilema learned about an important gateway for China's trade with Africa. But as a landlocked nation, Zambia's foreign revenues hinge on how well it uses natural resources, something that China's largest electric vehicle manufacturer, BYD, can offer to help with.
Zambia is Africa's second largest producer of copper, a vital material used in the production of EVs, charging facilities, and solar panels. And working with a company like BYD could potentially help Zambia improve its mining resource exports, tapping into the new opportunities in a global transition towards greener energy.
If Zambia is interested in going electric in transportation, BYD stands ready to offer technological support. Developing electric vehicles will make you less dependent on oil and reduce air pollution in cities. Most importantly, it increases the value of Zambia's corporate resources.
Zambia is also building its digital infrastructure to improve government efficiency and the business environment. At Huawei's headquarters, the delegation discovered how a talent program prepares young people in Zambia for a career in information and communication technology, or ICT.
But it's my first time to actually meet the president in person, and I really wanted to just encourage the youth to take on such ICT programs, especially females, because where I come from, a lot of females think ICT is a male-dominated industry, and that's what shies them away. But you need to face your fears head-on.
Hichilema ended his trip at Tencent and ZTE. Both companies have substantial investment in Africa. He hopes a more connected Zambia will become a more attractive regional hub for future business opportunities.
We can do more, faster, because the needs are tremendous in Zambia. And yet some of the solutions are here. All we need to do is to combine the two together.
Huang Fei, CGTN, Shenzhen.
And now let's take a closer look at long-running economic ties between the two countries. In 2022, trade between China and Zambia totaled $6.73 billion, which is 30% higher than a year ago. Breaking it down, China's exports reached $980 million, a 25% increase year-on-year, while its imports from the African country reached $5.75 billion, up almost by 1/3. In the meantime, over 600 Chinese businesses are operating in Zambia, with investments topping $3.8 billion. And today is the International Day for South-South Cooperation. China has been actively supporting the collaboration among the countries of the South. As early as 2015 September, Chinese President Xi Jinping announced the establishment of an assistance fund for South-South cooperation with an initial pledge of $2 billion. 2 years later, the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation added $1 billion to the fund. Last June, President Xi said China would upgrade the South-South Cooperation Assistance Fund to a Global Development and South-South Cooperation Fund and add $1 billion to the fund on top of the $3 billion already committed. And for more insights on China-Zambia ties and South-South cooperation, let's bring in He Wenping, Research Fellow of the Institute of West Asian and African Studies at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Dr. He, the Zambian president is currently visiting China. How do China-Zambia ties showcase the achievements and the future potential of China's South-South cooperation partnerships?
Yes, I think our relations with Zambia is very typical. It's a showcase to see China attach the great importance to South-South cooperation. We all know back to the 1964, China, established diplomatic ties with Zambia when Zambia got the independence. And shortly, that Zambia was under sanction by the South Africa apartheid regime. They blocked Zambia, the export and import that harbor, no longer let Zambia to use them in Elizabeth Port in South Africa, apartheid regime. By that time, China offered this great help to build the Tanzania Railway, linking Zambia to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. So when that time, China was also not developed as well. We also were backward and poor, but we remain offering sincere help. This is coming up as the biggest development assistance project in China-Africa relationship as a whole, not only China-Zambia relationship. So this shows South-South cooperation is based on our shared past and the joint effort to consolidate our economic independence, political independence, and then to seeking the common development. So this kind of a spirit, of course, has been carrying on forward until today. So that is why now the Zambia president visits China, and then we want to cement this friendship and join hand together to make this bilateral relationship into a new high. Back to you.
And looking forward, in what ways is China contributing to sustainable development in other developing countries through South-South cooperation?
Yes, we all know among this global South, some countries developed faster and also in a speedy way, like China, India, Brazil. Those countries has been named as a new emergency, this economy, and also come out with BRICS, this platform. Even recently, BRICS country had already expanded those membership, as many as 6 new members in the BRICS. So this means now among the global South, some those countries develop faster, especially China, India. Now they can offer those helping hand to other developing countries, and then our goal is to make a common development. That is why in recent 20 years more, China has been constantly and insistently to offer help hand to including Zambia, all the African countries to develop this infrastructure, connectivity, and the industrialization. Like in Zambia, we offered lots of projects there, like a copper, how to develop this, value chain to a refinery and develop the copper industry, and also agricultural industry and the infrastructure, so on and so forth. So in one way is to help them to diversify the economy. This time around, Zambia president visited Shenzhen, even one day visited 5 companies. So eyes on how to improve this digital cooperation between China and Zambia, and also push Zambia's their ICT industry forward. So that's exactly the meaning of South-South cooperation. We are helping each other and also share development experiences. Back to you.
So how do we ensure that South-South partnerships like the one between China and Zambia be structured to ensure mutual benefits, win-win outcomes, and shared development?
Yes, of course. First of all, we should have a common this desire, and also this equal footing and mutual respect. This kind of basic value, and also thirdly should depend on mutually this comprehensive about all those economic elements. For example, Zambia has a lot of resources which China needs the most, and also China made those manufacture products and also agricultural technical know-how, those agricultural, those also machines, all those things also needs very much from Zambia side. So this complementary with each other. So that's also served as a very good driving factor forward. And apart from that, we also need this kind of entrepreneurship. Chinese enterprises, as we just heard, now there are as many as 600 Chinese companies based there. Like we already established like a technical, agricultural, those demonstration center. So Chinese experts has been sent there. They show, their technical know-how, hand in hand, path technical transfer to the local those colleagues. So those specific those efforts also set up a very strong base for guarantee our cooperation can be assured and also can be moved forward in the same track and the same direction.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. And that was He Wenping, Research Fellow of the Institute of West Asian and African Studies at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. Moving on to other headlines we're tracking at this hour. China exported 408,000 vehicles in August, up 32% from a year ago, according to the China Passenger Car Association. In terms of new energy vehicles, production increased by 22% and sales rose 27%. The 20th China-ASEAN Expo will be held in Nanning from September 16th to 19th. All of the 150,000 imported exhibits arrived in the host city on Tuesday. The number of imported exhibits at this edition's expo increased by more than 3 times year-on-year. And railway tickets for the Mid-Autumn and National Day holidays will be on sale from Wednesday. The national railway system is expected to see 190 million passenger trips during the holiday. And now we're heading for a short break. Still to come on the program. The 8th Eastern Economic Forum continues in the Russian port city of Vladivostok. We'll bring you the latest.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business. Only on CGTN.
Welcome back. The World Trade Organization on Tuesday warned that global tensions have started to fragment trade as rival trading relationships form. But it is too early to declare that globalization has gone into reverse, the organization added in its trade report. The World Trade Organization has noted a significant increase in unilateral trade restrictions. A further increase in unilateral measures could yet fragment the world economy. The report also stressed that today's world needs more trade cooperation, not less. Globalization and cooperation need to be a part of the answer for the world to solve multiple crises. The European Commission has made a pessimistic assessment of the European Union's growth outlook in its latest report that takes the pulse of the region's economy. Paolo Gentiloni, the European Commissioner for Economy, said at a press conference that the bloc's economy has lost momentum since spring. Take a listen.
The EU economy has lost momentum since spring. Economic activity stalled in the second quarter, and survey indicators point to further weakening in the coming months.
The European Commission's report cut EU's 2023 outlook by 0.2 percentage points to 0.8%, citing very subdued economic activity in the first half of 2023. The growth outlook for 2024 was lowered by 0.3 percentage points to 1.4%. Meanwhile, the Commission notes of weakness in domestic demand, citing despite falling energy prices and a strong labor market, and that is attributed to high consumer prices for most goods and services. The Bank of England is set to raise interest rates again after record wage growth in September and a cooling job market. Official figures show that annual growth in average weekly earnings in the UK rose to 8.5% in the 3 months into July, up from 8.4% a month earlier, a record high for more than 2 decades. UK unemployment is rising and job vacancies have fallen below 1 million for the first time in 2 years. As following, investors expect another rate hikes on September 22nd for the British Central Bank. The 8th Eastern Economic Forum continues in the Russian port city of Vladivostok. Russian President Putin has met with Chinese Vice Premier Zhang Guoqing, who is leading a delegation to the forum. And Putin said Russia-China relations have entered the best stage and he's confident in the prospects of bilateral relations and cooperation. And Zhang said the China-Russia comprehensive strategic partnerships of coordination in a new era is showing strong momentum. He said China is willing to share development opportunities and deepen cooperation with Russia. And during the forum, Russian President Vladimir Putin also said increasing inflation had forced the central bank to hike rates to 12% last month, adding that Russia's economy would suffer if price rises were allowed to get out of control. And this year's forum is significant for Russia's economy due to the tough Western economic sanctions imposed after Russia's involvement in Ukraine. Since then, collaboration with Asian partners has become crucial. And Joseph Lankovich has more from Vladivostok.
The EEF is back after a rough period of the pandemic and an initial economic shock from the Western sanctions in early 2022. There are a lot of activities at the forum, and the atmosphere is quite upbeat as the Russian economy finds a new focus.
Russia is turning inward, realizing that its ties with the West will not be re-established anytime soon. They are replacing Western products and technologies with domestic ones and seeking new partners, primarily from the East.
Top among Russia's key new partners is China and its thirst for Russian raw materials. And one of Russia's largest copper producers aims to start deliveries to China in the next few months.
We considered China's market our priority because the site is in the Zabaikal region, which is bordering China. Its location is very favorable, as the final products we can deliver by land through our southern borders to the north of China and also by sea to Chinese ports.
The expansion of transportation corridors is essential for not just Udokan's export plans to China, but for many other businesses. One of the deals signed on Monday in Vladivostok between the Chinese and Russian sides covers building of a new grain terminal.
For the past 2 to 3 years, we have been in the process of negotiation, but de facto, we have already started deliveries of the Russian grain. The memorandum that we signed today is in regard to the future collaboration and the construction of a new terminal that would be closer to China.
In the next few years, grain exports through that new land corridor should reach 8 million tons. Alyosha Milenkovic, CGTN, Vladivostok.
And now we're heading for another short break. Still to come on the program. To celebrate 10 years of the Belt and Road Initiative, our reporters check out how BRI projects are benefiting local economies.
We're stepping out of the studio to take you on a brand new journey along the Belt and Road.
We travel to over 20 countries on 5 continents. Follow our cameras to all the interesting places, major cities, remote corners.
And so many more, we document not only massive infrastructures, but also cultural links that bound the community with a shared future.
We invite you on the New Silk Road as we mark 10 years of the Belt and Road Initiative.
The 2023 Pujiang Innovation Forum has wrapped up in Shanghai after participants from more than 30 countries and regions, along with 12 international organizations, gathered in the Chinese megacity. The event began over the weekend and finished Monday under the theme Open Innovation Ecosystem, Innovation for Global Connectivity. Over 1,000 high-quality projects by tech sector startups attracting billions of Chinese yuan in venture capital were prompted at the event. More than 3,300 proposals were also released at the forum, with the aim of attracting global partners and teams to cooperate on.
Esse fórum, nós faremos.
The vigorous development of China's technological innovation has left a very deep impression on us. We will treat this forum as an opportunity to deepen cooperation in related fields.
Porque a gente sabe.
President Xi stated his support in his opening remarks for global collaboration and open systems, open scientific systems being a win-win for global science. As humankind, we're all now working to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. We have lots of challenges around food security, climate change, zero hunger that we're collectively working together on globally.
China says it stands ready to share its experience in water management with the rest of the world. At the ongoing 18th World Water Congress in Beijing, Li Guoying, Minister of Water Resources, said China is one of the world's most complex countries when it comes to water-related issues and management. He said the distribution of water resources in the country is highly uneven, causing a mix of frequent flooding and droughts. The minister also introduced China's methods of water governance and delivered a clear message for greater global cooperation.
China is ready to work with countries around the world on water governance, seek joint cooperation and development, and jointly promotes the implementation of the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. China will contribute its wisdom, methods, and solutions to promote stronger, greener, and more sustainable development for the world.
It's been 10 years since the Belt and Road Initiative was first put forward. Over the past decade, 152 countries and 32 international organizations have signed up to the initiative. And CGTN's reporters have traveled to 22 Belt and Road nations across Asia, Africa, Europe, and Latin America to uncover stories of collaboration, transformation, and people-to-people exchanges under the framework. Setting off from Kunming, capital of China's Yunnan province, our reporters are heading to Bangladesh, Egypt, and Cambodia. In this episode, our reporter Wu Bing visits Bangladesh's second largest city, Chattogram, to check out South Asia's first underwater tunnel constructed by China and find out its significance for the local community and its role in realizing Golden Bangla.
Chattogram, Bangladesh's second largest city, is bisected by the Karnapuli River, with the city center and airport on the west bank. The two river banks are currently connected mostly by one bridge, limiting the development in the east as well as in southern cities. But since the tunnel project's launch in 2017, this is about to change. As the first underwater traffic tunnel to be built in Bangladesh and South Asia, it's believed that the project will help boost the development of the country's second largest city, and is named after the nation's founding father, former President Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Zhang He is among the first Chinese employees on the project since 2017. With the tunnel now in its final stage, Zhang is busier than usual, engaging in extensive discussions with on-site engineers. He says he's emotional, looking at the tunnel and remembering memories of the challenging early days and tough questions he once faced.
As an underground project, we had to do a lot of preparation in the early stages. The project started in 2017 and the tunneling machine arrived to dig the tunnels in 2018. There was more than a year in between when the local government didn't see much construction. They would worry if the project would be left unfinished.
Ultimately, the company earned Bangladesh's trust with high-quality construction. The entire route is over 9 kilometers in length, with the tunnel making up a third of it. The Shio Tunnel has a double track and 4 lanes, with a diameter of 11.8 meters and a design speed of 80 kilometers per hour. It follows Chinese standards and techniques, so in many aspects, it resembles tunnels in China, including a central digital platform that monitors and controls conditions inside the tunnel, such as traffic flow. Once complete, it slashes airport to east side travel from 2 hours to just 15 minutes, a joint achievement of both nations. Osman Uding, one of over 5,000 Bangladeshi employees, now drives on the new expressway, witnessing the area's transformation firsthand. The country believes the tunnel will attract more investment to the East Bank and is planning to build an industrial belt in the region. Osman is proud of contributing to the development of his hometown.
I've gained a lot of experience working on this tunnel project. I'm proud of our work here. It will be beneficial to the people from both the West Bengal Panagar and East Bengal and Nuwara.
This October, the tunnel will be officially handed over to Bangladesh, already standing as a local landmark. Some believe it does more than connect to riverbanks. It also bridges the hearts of people from both nations.
কমপ্লিট হওয়ার পরে এখানে ওপাশের সাথে নদীর ওপারের সাথে এই পাশের যোগাযোগটা আরো সুন্দর হবে এবং এখানে আরো বেশি মানুষের সমাগম হবে এটাই আমরা আশা করতেছি
First time I see this place is not good. Now his so beautiful place.
Ubin, CGTN, Chattagram, Bangladesh.
The 7th Taihe Civilization Forum on International Relations took place in Beijing today. Our reporter Olivia He spoke to several politicians and experts at the forum, exploring the potential for the Belt and Road Initiative to exert a more prominent influence within this new international framework. Take a listen.
Start looking at the Belt and Road Initiative and then also what happened most recently at the BRICS Plus. What you have is you have the Global South coming together. They're now in a position where if you took the countries of the Global South and you add in the Central Asian countries, you'd have about 160 countries. Guess what? They have the majority of the markets, population, GDP, manufacturing, and resources.
I mean, the biggest investor used to be the World Bank, and then over the years, it receded, so it made less investment in the strategic infrastructure. And actually, China filled the gap. And the filling of the gap was also due to that China needed new markets, and it was trying to establish those markets through the Belt and Road. And you have to see after the 2008-9 financial crisis, it was also a logical thing to do to repurpose capacity and just to be resilient.
The Belt and Road Initiative has really helped enhance the connectivity and trade relations between China and Europe. A prime example of this is the China-Europe freight trains, which have enabled over 100 Chinese inland cities to expand their exports to Europe. In addition, there has been a significant increase in Europe's collaboration with China as well.
In the past decade, we have witnessed a significant rise in Chinese enterprises collaborating with and constructing infrastructure projects in countries along the BRI. It's really exciting to see so many agreements being made, lots of cooperation happening, and more people from these countries getting involved. As we look ahead, we can expect a continued improvement in the scale and quality of these projects, which will play a crucial role in global economic development.
And that's all for this edition of Global Business on CGTN. Thank you for being with us. The Hub with Wang Guan is coming up next. Stay tuned.
This is CGTN.